Approach the podium, tell us who you are, what business you represent. If you've got plans, you can lay them out on the table next to the podium. And if you haven't already done so, we please ask you to turn off your cell phones. So we'll get started here, and Brian Morrison is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have 6 items tonight on our agenda, so we should move through it pretty quickly. So our first application tonight is DRB 2015-05, the application of 134 Partners at 134 North Wayne Avenue in Wayne, Zone Wayne Business Overlay District, for a freestanding sign. And if you remember, this is a continuation from last month. So welcome back.
Thank you.
Okay. So Brad, I think everybody knows who you are, but Mr. Connors? you wanna-
I'm Brad's partner.
Okay. Bill Connor?
Yes, Bill Connor. Sorry.
Okay. All right, Brad. I think Ray
Thanks, Bob.
mentioned last month he'd like you to come back and kind of lay out all the signs that are on the building so we get a better feel of what's going on there.
Yeah, and we have some current photos
Okay.
as well.
Okay, great.
The
Want to just
signage,
lay them
which
out
is
then?
always helpful, so you don't have to try and imagine it.
Sure.
Okay, the object of what we're doing now is trying to wrap this up tonight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a question was the freestanding sign,
Good.
right? Lisa, you were here last month? Or not? Okay.
So thank you for your feedback at the last meeting. We've incorporated
Thank you.
your suggestions, and I spoke to those in a cover letter there with your packet. One of them was in regard to the sign and its location and its size.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Just for Lisa's benefit, you want to just let Lisa know approximately what kind of sign you're proposing and the placement of it?
Yeah.
Just to bring her up.
I'm
to
sorry, I
this.
wasn't here last month.
It's a freestanding pole sign located on the patio in the front of the building for the purpose of tenant directory identification.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
In the packet, you said there's a photograph of this
Right. I saw.
proposed. The sign will appear.
Thank you.
Okay, so
So
any
part of-
changes in size or location or?
that it was recommended that the sign height be a little taller, and part of that, I believe, was due to the aesthetics, to improve the aesthetics of it, so it wouldn't be as squatty. And the other is to accomplish the goal of visibility to be at pedestrian height. The orientation of this freestanding sign is that the sign is flat, so when you approach from one side, you see a flat side. When you approach straight on from the building, you actually don't see it at all because the sign is only 1.5 inches or 2 inches thick. The context for the sign is some of the difficulty in terms of tenant visibility with the 5 retail tenants that are within this single facade. 3 of the tenants in particular do not have the large window space that is natural signage, and you'll see it in the photo. And the large plate windows, those businesses have plenty of visibility that's working for them. We have 2 lower level tenants. One is the Wayne Coffee and Ice Cream Bar, one is the Polish Salon. And they have challenged visibility in the lower level. And the feedback that comes back to building management, and I'm one of the owners of the Wayne Coffee and Ice Cream Bar, so I get firsthand information from that business. And
Get double dips.
that's good. That's really good. So the feedback from customers is just that it's very difficult to find the business. And so we checked that against the Paula Salon as well, which is in the same same situation, and they have the same issue. It's an ever-present issue, and it has real ramifications in terms of the success or failure of those businesses. They are smaller niche businesses by definition, and so, you know, they're running smaller space, but we think they're important businesses to Wayne. They're part of what makes, these are things you want to walk to. You want to walk to the Paula Salon, you want to walk to the ice cream parlor, and their location here in the heart of town, we want to be able to see it work.
And the problem is, I think they're probably the only basement retail space in the Wayne Business District. And so the very real problem we have for the tenants down there is people don't know they're there.
Right.
Because they're the only businesses like this. So we're trying to do some signage that gets people there but does it in a tasteful way, because in developing the building and renovating it, we've spent a great deal of time and attention to make sure that the building still fits within the framework of what Wayne is, you know, architecturally, and the whole theme of what Wayne's about.
And we realize this is being a historic building right in the center, we realize it's a special property, and so as Bill said, we have a concern that it comes off, that it appears as it should, that it's stewarded to its best potential, and that includes being able to have thriving businesses as well as being able to thread that needle and walk the line between what's appropriate, how do you call them out adequately and do it in a way that's visually, aesthetically pleasing.
Okay. All right, same location as the last time?
I just have a
Yeah.
quick question about the location. Did anybody ever talk about placing the same type of tasteful sign, like on either side of this wrought iron
That's a good
fence?
question. We did, and touched upon it last meeting.
I think
Ray was here
'cause we didn't
in
have
that meeting. There's an issue with that location, which is access to that side street, that alley, that when trucks back in for deliveries, it's, there's a potential clearance issue there. That's what Ray felt.
Even if it was physically attached to that railing? Like if you had the same sign on either side of that railing, so it looked,
Oh, below it, like low, where that sign is right now that points to the.
well, you have the
handicap
wheelchair
access?
sign. I'm just saying, what if it were, for instance, right in the center, attached to either
Yeah.
side of the railing itself versus in the middle? My only concern, I understand where you're coming from, but I think it would actually look nice there. My only concern about starting the precedent to putting something separate and detached like that in the front is that it aesthetically just starts to create a different look. But I think, I'm just wondering how the shop owners would feel, or how you would feel if there was something. I think it would be very visible on this fence, and it would also be in a location that, I mean, to me, it would make sense.
So the problem is sometimes the delivery trucks obscure that piece of the railing there.
How often would a delivery truck really just be sitting there, though?
They're in there quite a bit for they take deliveries for the businesses that, yes, the restaurants that are north of the alley. So they're getting food deliveries a couple times a day.
I agree with that. I think you're right that it's a prominent position for it, and it'd be visible. It would have limited visibility depending on the angle of your approach to the building, and that's a piece of why we chose the location off the sidewalk and on the patio. In the middle is that passersby on foot then see the sign while they're in front of the building. If it was at one end of the building on a railing, you would only see one side of that and see it before you were next to the building.
I mean, the trick is, how do we get people down the stairs?
Right.
And even if we put it on the railing, then it's kind of like it's a building identification sign, and we haven't helped these people make this transition from they're standing out on the sidewalk, and down the stairs and to the left or to the right are these two businesses. And that's the real problem that
Right.
we're having. And they're struggling down there because, you know, if they were up at street height, we wouldn't even be here.
Right.
Because, you know, you could look in the window and see, oh, ice cream, and you know, you'd have customers, but you can't actually see their door.
You know, there is a wall sign that's planned for that alley. You wouldn't see it from exactly the angle that you're pointing out, but if you walked up another 5 feet past the edge of that building, then you could see it.
We approved that a few months
Um,
ago, the wall sign. Here it is.
Right, no, I remember that.
Yeah.
That looked nice, yeah.
Okay.
But our problem is it doesn't get people off the sidewalk and in. And it's, you'd think somebody could figure it out, but the customers just
Right.
aren't, is the problem.
Lisa, the other
It
thing?
feels funny to describe that, but it's so true, that the feedback that, well, I see people stand in front and they're looking around, and you ask, can you help you, what are you looking for? And they'll tell you what they're looking for, which is right in front of them in that building.
Mhm.
And I don't know if we're all just spoon-fed with the obviousness of most signage in other places or something, but it's, people are challenged to find it even when they're in front.
I was talking to my colleague, architect, Ryan, and, I mean, you've really done a masterful job, much more than I think people ever
Tony.
expected you to do with this building.
Your mic.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, okay. I'm not going to repeat all that. You've done a masterful job, and there must be some attractive way. What if you put over the entrance, the problem is you have a blind entrance. What if you put an awning under, I mean, he would be allowed to have an awning.
Sure.
Under there.
Over the stairwell.
Yeah, just in the center. What if you put a half-barrel awning with 8-inch letters?
8-inch.
8-inch letters.
Up to 8.
And that would identify that opening.
Might like to do that, too. The reason I say that is because we had a designer look at that, and we did have an awning mocked up for that entrance, and
Just for the
it
center
would,
one.
it would work well. There's just limited space on the awning to be able to speak to the two businesses that are down underneath.
Oh, there's two down.
Yeah.
One on
Yeah,
each side.
one on each side.
This 8x15 sign, that's on the side of the building, is this already approved? This is not on the table tonight?
5 by 10, but it is approved, and the logos weren't on it.
Okay,
So that's why that's included in the packet, is to be able to see the actual logos that'll be on that sign.
but we're not really, this isn't really on up for discussion tonight. We're talking more about this front sign.
True.
Okay, I'm asking.
But we're happy to talk about whatever signs.
So it's something you thought about, the awning over the doorway?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
And another property owner actually brought it to our attention at first.
Or create some
Try and
kind of facade
help
there
us
where
solve
you
that.
could put
Right.
where you could put the two names that would punch out.
Yeah, you know, there's a railing behind, you can't see it in the photo because it's a setback and it's shadowy back there and it's black railing. But it's a surface that you could put, it's a surface, so you could put signs on there. One of the lower level tenants, the salon, had a sign on there initially but we have office tenants in the second floors and third floor, and their entrance is right behind that railing. And I agree with them that it looks a little more like the boardwalk than like North Wayne Avenue once you get stacking signs on that surface that point to the businesses downstairs. And these are some of the reasons that we ended up on this freestanding pole sign out front, and also the way it orients, so that it's from a sidewalk approach that you see it. You really don't pick up on it as much from a number of the other angles. You're not going to see it from the street. It's not a particularly prominent sign, but it is in the right location to catch people when they're walking by, to help them either say, oh yeah, I'm looking for this and that's where it is, or to be able to see it.
And part of it, from our perspective, is just the whole walkability of Wayne. I mean, a lot of the traffic past the building, it's foot traffic, and we're trying to capture that foot traffic as opposed to somebody out in the street driving by.
I got to tell you, the one concern, and I do think the sign meets code and stuff like that, and that's what our board is all about, but my concern is that other businesses pick up on this idea, get rid of those sandwich boards, which are temporary, and start putting these up and down the sidewalk
That
permanently.
was my concern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know what we can
I don't
do.
think we're allowed to have the sandwich boards.
You're not,
No.
but I'm saying
Because-
instead of, restaurants, bringing back, or putting out and bringing back sandwich boards, putting something like this out in a permanent basis and calling it a pole sign and kind of skirting around the code that way. So that's just a concern of mine. And like I say, right now, I think under code, this is allowed. But
Well,
I'd hate to
what-
see the town littered with these up and down the sidewalk.
What's a little different about our location is this is actually up a couple
Exactly,
steps. So
right.
it's not in the main sidewalk that
Mhm.
runs up and down.
Right,
North Wayne Avenue.
yeah. So, Brian, what do you think?
Maybe if we said right now that one of the criteria of having these signs, and I don't know if we can do it this way, but if the criteria was that they have property on that side of the sidewalk, obviously, some of the restaurants down the hill aren't going to be able to do this because they don't have any, they're right on the sidewalk. I'm trying to think of who does have a situation
I
like
think
this.
we're the only one with steps like that.
Like maybe Elantra, they've got the step up. Elantra,
That's right.
yeah. But
But I
of course,
mean, at the same time, I think that, you guys have obviously put a lot of thought into it, and this is the sign you want to use. I don't have a problem with the sign. I think it fits the building.
Mhm.
I mean, you don't want too much signage, but you don't want too little either. I mean, it kind of, just looking at this one image, it kind of looks like fun. You want to go there.
right,
If you want to have a downtown, you want some signage.
Mhm.
You just don't want a bunch of big, ugly, gaudy signage, and
Right.
that's what we're here for.
We agree with that.
yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I personally like it.
Tony?
Yeah, but it's non-conforming, right?
Well, I think it is conforming under the
Okay,
code. Yeah,
all
so it's classified as as a ground sign. Technically, it's under 8 feet in height. It's under 20 or 30 square foot. So
Okay,
it's
good.
technically a ground sign. Like I say, it's probably not the intent when the code was written. that a
Yeah, I
ground
want to see
sign
you get
appear
something
like
that
this.
works.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
Right.
It's kind of futile to
yeah.
kind of throw mud on the wall and hope it sticks, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, is
But-
it we've erred on the side of not enough signage, which is why we're here proposing this sign.
Mhm.
Um,
I don't know, personally, I'd almost rather see something with a good heavy-duty base, and it kind of looks like a ground sign instead of just a, wrought iron pole. And I think it's an aesthetic issue, but it's also, it helps us out with the code itself down the road, where I don't think, other merchants are going to go out and buy a nice heavy-duty sign with a nice base and, with, something mounted on top. I think, I don't know what you're spending for this. I think it's probably a lesser price alternative than somebody going out and having a base fabricated by a sign manufacturer and installed. I don't know.
It's not inexpensive.
No, I'm sure it's not, yeah. But, so that's, Lisa. go ahead.
I totally get what you're doing, and I'd be doing the same thing if I had a business in there. My concern is that even though it technically fits code, is that it's a real slippery slope.
Right.
Because technically, we have a lot of businesses come in front of us that like to do the sandwich boards, and if they see this and then they say, oh, we can get this through under code, I think you're going to see a lot of
Right.
people come in, and
Yeah.
then it gets to be a different issue. And so I guess my one question is, and I don't mean to take you back to the drawing board, but when I look at the front of that building, at the tops of each of the windows, I'd really rather see, if it would be effective, some kind of signage for those businesses where the moldings are underneath the big windows, just so it's very clear that those businesses are there, because if it's clear that they're there, then people are going to think to go down the stairs. I mean, I would think that way if I was, and I think their eyes are going to be attracted to the front of the building there, because you've got other larger businesses that have very visible signage, so their eyes would be drawn to both of those windows, and I think they would definitely notice the signage underneath. If it weren't for the fact that I thought this, I can see this snowballing through Wayne, then I'd say that I think the sign is attractive and you've done a great job. But my concern is that if it can get through under code, you can bet we're going to see a lot of people wanting to put permanent signs, which is even a bigger issue than a sandwich board, in my opinion, that can be, and maybe I'm overreacting.
No,
That's my concern.
I mean, the only good thing is if a restaurant comes in, they can't put their menu there. You have to, by
Right.
code, just basically, put your business name. You can't write your menu on something like that, but,
Right.
Well, could you structure your approval in such a way that it takes into account the fact that it's for low-grade businesses?
I'm sorry, did it what, Bill?
Below
It's
grade.
for
Oh, below grade.
Below-grade businesses, and that it's elevated steps from the main sidewalk?
Well-
Because I think that's what makes our
Right.
space different.
That's what I was
agree,
trying to
but then
get
we're
at. and I
changing the
couldn't-
code.
But
Yeah. Brad, I think originally when you guys first came in for the ice cream bar, weren't you talking about putting signage on that little wooden face there on top of the windows?
Yeah, again, it's that merry mix of what's aesthetically best,
Mhm.
what accomplishes the signage, and how do you have it visible from a couple of the primary angles that
Mhm.
people approach from.
I'd prefer to keep the signage off the architecture and the trim work and pull it away, or put it on the glass.
All right. All right, any other discussion, or somebody
Do both.
like to make a motion? Do you guys have any other questions for us or comments? You all right, Brad? Okay.
I just think if we're going to approve this, I
Mhm.
think we should take a look at the code pretty quickly and make some sensible modifications so that it's not possible for this to go
Right,
through the
right. And
sidewalks.
I don't know,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Ray, go ahead.
Sorry, I apologize for being late. I was out on another call. When we talked about this in the office, isn't there one sign, a ground sign, monument sign, and one set of signs for that? Isn't there something in the sign ordinance about one sign?
Well, I think you could, have a wall sign and a
Okay.
pole or a ground sign, both. I mean, look at like Sovereign Bank and places like that.
I think we asked last time, though, didn't we? Didn't we ask Brad to come back with a realistic picture of what's going to be up there? Because nowhere do you see the signage that's in the back door or on the side of the building, unless again, I apologize, I just
Yeah.
walked in. All we're focusing on is adding one more sign. They already have approvals for 3 or 4 more signs that they haven't put up yet. So again, it's not a realistic picture of what this is going to look like when all 6 signs get installed on the building.
Right. Well, I think.
Is that truly what you guys are intended, and then how do we police this?
Yeah.
So when we get to say that, how many signs can you have on a building, we'll look at, again, that's our discussion in the office.
Right,
And I
okay.
apologize, I wanted to do this before the meeting, but I was out.
Right, okay.
Yeah, thanks, Ray. That's why we took some current photos, and 2 of them are up on the screen right now. So the approach from the front of this building, this shot's taken from the street. Looking straight on, you don't see any of the wall signs or the projecting signs. You only see the window signs. And you don't see any of the signs down the south facade, which is the main lobby entrance down the side, the south side. From a different angle over here on the right, you pick up two of these projecting signs here. You don't see any of the window signs. There's actually two projecting signs back here. You know, it gets dark under there and they get small quickly. And you don't see any of the signs off on the side for the alley. And the same would be true from the reverse. If you're walking from the Great American Pub back over, you would pick up these two projecting signs here, but you wouldn't really yet see these till you came in front. And you wouldn't see anything around on the south side. In the packet, there's a mock-up photograph of the south side of the property
Right.
where that 5x10 wall
Yeah.
sign is. Yeah. But there's also a photo in there, not just of the sign, but it's a photo slide 6. Sorry, nobody else can see this, but the board can see it. It's this one.
Right. Upper right?
There you go.
Okay.
Thanks, Bill.
So that's not up yet? That hasn't been installed yet? Okay.
Correct. Now that's, you can catch a little bit of the side of the building there. You can only see that sign when you're at the entrance to the alley. You can see a little bit of it if you're in the street off to the side.
Okay.
And then you're not picking up any of the signs on the right side of the other facade. So there are a lot of businesses in there, and yet it's not a lot of signage for the businesses that are in there. And based on where this property sits back and with the roof that overhangs and the tree and light pole and cars, and then the alley's a different, when you stop and analyze it like we did and really looked at it, and I think Ray's charge was correct to go back and assess what's it all really going to
Right.
look like at the end of the day. Not just from a 2D, this is the signs, but what's it look like in the photo. It's surprisingly not, you know, you can't see many of the signs all at the same time.
I mean, if we were looking at this strictly from the retail perspective, we would have taken off the overhang, gotten rid of the roof, and then you would have had a nice big flat.
the tree out.
Get rid of the tree.
Yeah.
You'd have a nice big flat facade that we could put signs on, but that's not what we were trying to do with the building. And so because we were trying to create something that fits in with the culture of Wayne, it's created these other problems for us.
Ray, just a question for you. You know, in the code, you're only allowed so many square feet on a building. I guess a couple of things I'll ask you. Number one, if we sat down and calculated everything out and found that by adding this sign, it was still below the square foot requirements, could we approve it then? Maybe not give an approval tonight, but do our math and figure everything out. And I guess the next question is the suburban blade on the side and things that were approved by the zoning hearing board, would that enter into the calculation, or is that separate?
I can assume that that is advertising and names and businesses. So whether zoning approved it or not, I would assume that it's still counted in the calculation for signs and all. The other thing that we kind of struggled with was a pole sign, a freestanding sign, and sandwich boards. We're going up and down continuously now, trying to police the tables, walking sidewalks and all. Now, I understand you guys have have a big walkway there, but how can we tell the business next door that they're not allowed to have a sign out, sandwich board sign or a freestanding menu board sign, but you can? So it's again, that consistency also, and then how much you need? But that's
Right.
Yeah, I think maybe the calculation is good, and I think too, maybe get all the signs up that are approved and do the calculation.
Okay.
You know, rather than having signs that have been approved but not installed, so that you can actually get a, real look at what the building is.
Well, our plan is if we get an approval tonight to get this sign and the side sign
Okay.
installed.
I mean,
I don't believe that the pole signs or freestanding signs are part of the calculation.
I think they are. I'm pretty sure
Because
they
in the
are.
code, it speaks to the signs that specifically are part of the calculation, like
Mm-hmm.
wall signs and window.
Yeah,
And then there's an overall for the facade, which I assume would include a directory sign or something else, a
Right.
directional sign. But the freestanding signs
Uh,
say to me
okay.
that they're not part of it because they don't intentionally say they are, whereas other sign
Mhm.
parts of the code do intentionally say they're part of the calculation.
Okay. Ray, can we investigate that a little further and render a decision at a later time?
They can provide the calculations on the square footages and things to us. We'll certainly take a look at it.
Is that fair enough?
Yeah, of course.
Could we do this so we don't have to come back?
Did you hear that question?
If you say yes, they don't come back. I would rather have you be the policing board with our recommendations. If you're going to leave it up to me and they're not happy,
Right.
they have the opportunity to come back to you. So why don't we just let it come back?
And
Is that right?
Okay.
Come back with all measurements on everything.
Okay.
Blade sign, freestanding, the whole, window signs,
Yeah,
window
that's
graphics.
expected of everybody.
Okay.
But we would like some more feedback and clarity on why this freestanding sign isn't allowed potentially, but other freestanding signs or ground signs, pole signs are.
But
I'm kinda
I don't think-
confused
I
on-
don't think they have an issue with that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Bill?
It doesn't seem like you haven't, well, it's not your preference, you don't have an issue with the fact that we can put a pole sign there.
No, I think under code, you're entitled to put a pole sign. Yeah.
So we,
Or a ground sign, call it what
you just
know.
want us to come back with the calculations.
Well, let's just make sure you're not getting too much square footage and signage on a building.
Right.
Okay, that you're going overboard.
Yeah, we track that.
So aesthetically, I think we're, right, I think we're in agreement. Aesthetically, we're okay with this. Placement, we're okay. The fact you're going to put the logos of the businesses on there, I think we're okay. Let's just make sure we're not approving something where you're going to have too much square footage
Right.
under code. So if you can, like I say, come back with all the measurements of all signage on the building, we'll calculate it out, we'll double-check the code book, make sure we're making the proper decision. So,
Can I make a recommendation that the township get that before the meeting? It's kind of tough to sit here and try to
Yeah.
punch numbers and page through the code book while you're at the stand. So if we could have some time to do that before the meeting, we'd appreciate that.
Makes sense.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
And Ray, do you think we should look at the code itself so that if we move forward with this business, that we're not opening ourselves up to?
I definitely think that it should be something that is now going to be considered, because as we hand out letters and zoning warnings for sandwich board signs, if I now put that on a pole, can I come to you and get approval for that? And again, then what do we do with, again, blocking sidewalks, blocking entranceways? I still have to meet the ADA requirements and certain other things. So yes, I think we should take a look at this from the code perspective also. That's kind of why I asked that we get this a little ahead of time, so we can actually do some homework.
Because I think we owe it to them if they're coming back for measurement reasons, that we don't throw that back at them as an issue, that we have it resolved before then.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
all right, good.
You also might, I see that listing handsome light pole, and I see a red car right up against it. You might want to put a protective bollard in front of that to protect that pole. See that? I don't know
I'll
if that
take a
red
look at that
car
when I'm
did.
over there, when a car's parked there, and see if it is as close as it appears in that.
Okay.
So if you had a
from that
protective
angle.
bollard in front of it, it would protect the pole.
Okay, good. Good catch. All right, anything else? You guys all right? Maybe in a week or so, you can get your measurements to,
Yeah, we're happy to
right?
come meet at the township offices. And
I'm sorry?
We'll go through with Ray.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, guys. All right, I guess we need to make some sort of motion here tonight. Lisa?
In the matter of DRB 2015-05, I move that we postpone our decision until they come back in front of us next month, but in the meantime, they'll submit their measurements of total signage to the township, and we'll revise, or we'll review the codes applicable to pole signs.
Okay, good. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. You guys all right?
Thank you.
Okay, good.
Thank
Ray,
you.
you all right?
Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, thanks, guys. All right. All right, next is DRB 2015-06, the application of Cello Partnership. Businesses as Verizon Wireless at 555 Sproul Road in Villanova for some antennas. Hello there.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mike Shearing. I'm a land use attorney with the law firm O'Reilly, Riper, Holland, and Culla Greco, and we represent Verizon Wireless, essentially, for this application.
Nice to have you here.
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. With me is Ms. Pam Stanfield. Pam is the project manager for this particular site, so I asked her to be here this evening in case the board had any questions that I would not necessarily be able to address. What we're proposing is the co-location of some panel antennas for Verizon Wireless on the property at the Radnor Valley Country Club, which is an existing, that's obviously an existing golf club use and an existing wireless communications, or I think your ordinance calls it telecommunications use.
Okay. I know this was in before us many years ago. I don't know, 6, 7 years or so, Mike, that they put that up.
I believe that's correct,
Yeah,
sir.
I remember doing the approvals on that.
One of the things that Radnor Township is certainly, and obviously Crown Castle owns the tower, but they're getting their bang for the buck because most townships would hope that you get this type of co-location. Right now on that facility,
That's pretty.
what's better is, I do have one photograph.
Okay.
But right now on that facility, you have Metro PCS, you have Nextel, you have Cricket, you have AT&T, and Verizon is proposing to co-locate.
So Verizon's looking to beef it up a little bit, their portion of it.
Well, I'm sorry, I guess I don't.
Verizon's looking to increase their amount of antennas on this so-called
Yeah,
tree.
Verizon is not on it now, I'm sorry.
Oh, Verizon is not
Yeah,
on it
No,
currently.
Verizon
Okay.
is not on it.
Okay.
But,
So you want approval to get on the tree?
well, we want aesthetic approval to hang our panel antennas, sir, at the 110-foot mark on that tower that you see in the photograph that I'm presenting. And I will represent to you that where my finger is the approximate visual perspective where we would be putting these panel antennas. The panel antennas are very similar to what's there now.
Okay.
Okay. But obviously, there would be an array of, essentially, there are 3 sectors of 4 is what they are. The other thing, obviously, that we have to do is include the associated ground equipment, and what we're proposing there. That was the first.
And this is all in the interior of the Radnor Valley site.
That's correct. It's right next to their main parking lot.
So I don't think adding anything more to that, I mean, from my standpoint, doesn't offend me anymore if all you're doing is adding more devices to the tower.
That's exactly what I meant, Mr. Vincent, when I said you're getting some bang for the buck, as opposed to a proposal for a new tower, assuming it would be permitted in whatever district that they needed to make. The fact of the matter is that they can co-locate here, and if you look, I know this drawing is difficult to see, but really what we'd be doing is extending the existing board-on-board fence compound by 10 feet. And I'll represent to you the parking lot is my right hand.
But that's all at grade, and it's all interior to the site, so you
Cool.
don't see it from Sproul Road.
Correct, and all we would do is extend the board-on-board fence.
The
So-
golfers are going to see it, but,
Well, I'm not even sure they would
yeah.
notice it once it's completed, because there's just going to be a 10-foot wider board-on-board fence towards the parking lot, not even towards the golf course. And in that, of course, that's where we would include our telecommunications equipment and, you know, the power source, what have you. So that's an overview of the application. If there are any specific questions, I certainly am willing to give it a shot
I
and
guess
address them.
the aesthetic, the color of the antennas are going to kind of blend in with what's there now.
The color of the antennas will blend in with what's there now.
Okay.
My understanding from having done this type of telecommunications zoning work for some years is that what they do is they would remove those branches, if you will, that are there, and then they reinstall them once the panel arrays are back in place.
Gotcha.
And they just augment them as necessary if they need to cover up any additional
Correct.
antenna.
Just as they've done with the top.
The tree just gets bigger.
Ray, do you have any problem with this? Is there,
No, again, it's internal to the golf course.
Right.
And it is literally abuts the Blue Route or 476. No, it's not a,
When does work start, or when do you think you'll be finished by?
Well, if we're successful this evening, I would think that we'd be in touch with the township about a permit. I'm not sure, Pam, is there a particular build-out schedule that you're aware of for this site? Okay. So I would assume within probably summertime, it's typical, you know, once the weather breaks, they'll probably be asking to pull permits and
Okay.
move forward.
Is that all right, Ray? Okay, good. All right. Any other questions, comments? Okay, Mike, any other questions or comments for us?
No, thank you.
Okay, Tony, you want to take this?
in the matter of DRB 2015-06, Selco Partnerships, we recommend that the application be approved as submitted.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Would you like to have these drawings back?
Take a step back, sure.
Yeah. That's-
Would it help you to have another set, or are you going to be?
Well, you know what, I might as well.
Yeah.
I feel bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank
Would
you.
you like my, I feel
We'll
bad, it's so
recycle
much
it.
paper. You want-
Thank you. All right, next is DRB 2015-07, the application of Cornerstone Cheese at 1 West Avenue in Wayne, zoned Wayne Business Overlay District for 3 awning signs. Hi, Dennis.
Hi. I'm Dennis from Denron Signs, and this is Christine from Cornerstone Cheese.
Okay.
And charcuterie.
Christine, you want to first tell us a little bit about your business while Dennis is getting set up there?
Sure. My husband and I are both chefs, moved back into the area.
Right up to the mic.
Oh.
Great.
And grew up here, spent 10 years up in Boston, moved back here. We're both chefs and opening a cheese and charcuterie shop in Wayne. Charcuterie is cured meats and fresh sausages, and
That's
that's
great.
what we're doing.
Good.
Very excited.
Yeah.
I grew up in Wisconsin. So.
Okay. We have some cheddar coming in.
That's great.
You never get enough cheese and sausage. believe me.
I agree.
Yeah. When do you expect to be open?
June 1st, if this is approved.
Okay.
June 1.
Great. All right, good. Well, you got a good guy doing your signs.
Awnings.
Yeah, awnings, okay.
But
All right, Dennis.
these are the 3 awnings that we're proposing, and this is what's there now. So we'll be removing those frames, taking them back, rewrapping them, and re-lettering them. Now, it'll be the same forest green sunbrella material as all the other awnings along there.
Good.
It'll be the same size lettering. Everybody has 6-inch high lettering along there. It was tough to fit in that name in
Yeah.
6-inch letters, but on the corner we have Cornerstone, and then all the lettering on the 2. The one awning in the center is like 9 to 10 feet, and the ones on the sides are 14 feet each.
Okay.
So we'll just remove, rewrap, re-letter, and then, re-bolt them right in the same spots, same holes, everything. So
Dennis, are you
it's-
making all new awnings or just the face?
No,
you're changing?
they've been redone a few times,
Okay.
and they're pretty bad.
Okay.
So
Saving the frames.
Yes,
reconditioned frames
Right,
just recovering.
and recovering them with new
Okay.
awnings and lettering.
Right.
good,
Look nice.
yeah. Just a couple of things, you probably heard the previous discussion about the sandwich boards, not allowed. So,
I've already talked to a few people.
okay, all right.
know about
Hopefully they told you that, so. okay.
Unless they're edible sandwich boards.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
And I guess you're not much opportunity for extra signage, but if you do decide to do something, you're going to have to come back. Yeah. Okay. I know a couple people have, and maybe even the previous owner in there may have had a small wall sign on the brick. So just in case.
That's what we were told, anything per is gonna cost per.
Yes.
Coming to get approval.
Right,
for each.
okay.
We have great visibility right on a corner, so you have both sides.
Yeah.
What
And
kind
a
of, are you,
corner.
is it cheeses from all over the world, or?
We've been procuring cheeses from all over the country, and we spent some time this year traveling all over the country and bringing fresh sausage.
I'm sorry.
Different kinds of meats and sausages, but the cheeses, I did this, I focused on this up in the Boston area, so we're bringing stuff down that a lot of stuff you're not going to see. There's some coming from all over, just all over the country, all over the
How many
world.
cheeses do you plan to have?
About 20 to 25 to start.
I want to tell you a little story. When Charles de Gaulle returned to France, a reporter asked him, said, "How do you plan to manage France?" He said, "Not very well." He said, "How can you possibly manage a country that makes 400 different kinds of cheese?" So
We won't have that many.
give it a try.
That's in phase 2 and 3.
All right, great. All right.
Good luck.
It's
Thank you.
Yes.
pretty simple.
Okay, yeah, it is. Yeah, thank you. Any other comments, questions?
Nope.
You guys are, okay, you guys all right with us? Any questions? All right. Brian, you want to handle this one?
Matter of DRB 2015-07, Cornerstone Cheese and Charcuterie.
Yes.
I move that we approve the submission.
Okay.
I enthusiastically second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Lots of luck. Okay.
Good.
Thank you. Thanks, Dennis.
When do you open?
June 1st, but as soon as possible,
Good.
once we get everything approved.
Okay. We're going to have a small change in the agenda. The representatives from the high schools and around their school district are nice enough to let applicant DRB 2015-10 jump ahead, and that's the application of MD Weight Loss at 250 West Lancaster Avenue in Wayne, zone Wayne Business Overlay District, for a wall sign and a freestanding sign. And this is in the Kingsway Apartments. So, hello there.
Hello, my name's Kathleen Lieb. That's a tough act to follow.
Well, hopefully you eat a lot of cheeses and then they come by to see you, right? Yeah. Okay, you want to tell us a little bit about MD Weight Loss? Get your commercial in?
It is a medical weight loss designed to help people lose weight and also maintain their weight loss.
Good.
I've been in the healthcare industry for 25 years. Part of the organization has a large practice in media. Completely, this is a separate entity, but that's where I came from, and we've been very successful.
Great. This is your first location?
This is my first location,
Yeah.
yes.
Good.
So
Lots of luck.
I came alone. I hope I have the information that you need.
Okay.
The first one here is pretty much just repeating what was there prior to. Flat lettering,
Right.
nothing lit up, just with our logo. And I think I have the specs. The letters are 5 3/4, and the sign, I put my glasses on. The sign, I believe, is 15 by 70, and that's what was previously there.
Yeah. That's pretty cut and dry. The only thing I would make sure you tell your sign manufacturers, and we tell these guys, but they never do it, the fasteners are not to be exposed,
Okay.
all right? But
I'm going to
yeah,
see him tomorrow.
You know, just right across the street, the chiropractor, I believe, just went in across the street. Same property owner, mirrored sign, drilled right through. You know, they don't cover the screws or anything, so it's been a problem there. I think it'll look a lot neater, too, when you don't see the exposed.
That would bother me, to
Okay.
be quite honest.
Okay, so.
So,
All right,
that's not a
good. If you
problem.
could make sure you tell them, yeah.
Now, we're next to Brain Balance on the other side here.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot smaller square footage, so of course my signage is not going to be
Right.
equivalent to his. It's, I'm doing I was going to do an awning, but there's already 2 different color awnings on that building, and I think it's a little confusing, and I don't like either of the colors, so I decided to just go flat. There are 2 goose light there currently, and we're going to utilize that at night, which it is there now, and that would be the only thing that's actually lit. The sign is flat. I think the specs are on your sheets, and I also think this is pretty simple and straightforward unless I'm missing something.
No, it's pretty straightforward. Again, I think you have in your instructions here, it says exposed fasteners, again, hidden fasteners. You shouldn't be able to see anything. It should be mounted in such a way where you don't see screws or anything like that, so.
Well, and obviously, nothing's been done because
Right.
I'm meeting him tomorrow, so I can make sure
Okay.
that happens.
Who's doing your sign?
City sign, Jeff, I always forget his last name. I actually called a few people, and he was the one that called me right back. So, Carson. He did a lot of work, I think, in this area.
He's been in here before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he seemed very pleasant, simple.
Okay.
I mean, again, I don't think this is,
No, it's not.
I'm not reinventing the wheel
No.
here. And I wanted something very clean and straightforward. I mean, it's very simple.
What do you guys feel about the sign? You all right with it?
It looks great.
Yeah.
It's boring.
Lisa, you all right with that?
Yep, it's good.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for the board?
I do not,
No? Okay.
but
All right.
thank you.
Okay, you bet.
Very
Lisa?
good. In the matter of DRB-2015-10, MD weight loss, I move that we approve the wall sign and the freestanding sign as submitted.
How about just mention the fasteners?
Oh, that the fasteners will be covered and sealed properly.
Okay. Do we hear a
Thank you.
second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank
Have
you.
a good evening.
Good luck.
Okay. All right, next on the agenda is DRB 2015-08, the application of the Ithan Elementary School at 695 Clyde Road in Bryn Mawr for a building addition. Thanks again for letting the applicant jump ahead.
Good evening.
Hi there.
I'm Darren Jellison from Blackney Hayes Architects, and with me is Leo Burnaby, the Director of Operations with the school district.
You guys want a handheld also? You sure? Okay,
It's mostly a one-man show, I think.
all right.
So we're starting with Ithan Elementary School. We are proposing to add 2 new kindergarten classrooms to the existing building. This is a mid-60s, they call it a California-style school, characterized by red brick and large expanses of glass. Our addition really intends to blend in with and respect the rhythms and the materials and the colors of the original school. Leo's pointing out the addition location, and here is a 3D view of that addition right there. So since we live in a very different time from a building envelope standpoint and things, we've taken a couple of steps to sort of separate this building because it cannot be as thin and light and elegant as they used to be able to do 50 years ago. So we have similarly cantilevered roofs, but they'll read a little bit thicker. The expanses of glass are still there, though naturally we'll match window frame colors, glazing color, and in fact we've had a masonry rep come out and pick us some bricks that will
So just going to match
Match.
existing.
Yeah.
match.
Is that, just out of curiosity, has that school been updated since the 60s?
Yes.
Electric and HVAC has been updated.
Okay, so the basic layout?
Exactly,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. I actually was there the very first year it opened. I spent 1 year at Ithan, it was the first year it opened. I believe it was 63, maybe?
That sounds right, yeah.
Yeah, 63, yeah, second grade.
Is that
Yeah.
as far as you got?
That was it, they threw me out after 1 year, yeah. I was a bad kid.
was it.
Yeah. And I guess that's along the bus loop
Correct.
addition, yeah.
That'll be visible as you're approaching.
Right.
On the right side there. There's an overhang, you can see here in the right picture, the right side. That's
Mm-hmm.
a view of the overhang that will be essentially infilled, and our new
Okay.
roof is a little bit higher than that. But
Okay.
What's that existing soffit material called?
Tectum,
Tectum?
yes.
Tectum.
It's not terribly attractive,
concrete
but
board.
it's,
Right.
it gets the job done.
Mm-hmm.
Concrete board.
Yes, the
Like
underside of
pressed
it is actually
concrete?
sort of a natural fibrous material, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So did you say kindergarten classrooms? Is that what it is?
That's right.
Okay.
I was wondering what it is.
Enrollment's up, I guess, huh? Enrollment must be up.
Yeah. it's pressed
More
concrete.
kids, more kids than ever going to school in Radnor Township, or?
Yes, and we initiated full-day kindergarten.
Right.
so-
Okay. Good.
Should we move on to Wayne, or we?
Are you pretty much done with Iton?
We can answer any questions you have, but
Does the
it's
board have
a-
any questions?
No, I think it
Comments?
looks fine.
Yeah, please,
I'm
all
just
right.
curious, what's the construction? When are you planning on beginning construction and completion?
We still have yet to apply for building permits, but it will start as soon as school is out in June.
Be ready for fall?
It will not be a summer project. no.
Okay.
It's scheduled to be done mid-school year.
Yeah, okay, good. All right. Any other questions for the board? Are you guys all right? So we'll make an approval for the Iton addition then? Lisa, you want to take that?
In the matter of DRB 2015-08, I move that we approve the Ithan Elementary School addition as submitted.
Okay, here, a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so next on our agenda is DRB 2015-09 for
That's
Wayne
us again.
Elementary School at 651 West Wayne Avenue in Wayne,
Ooh.
again for a building addition.
That's correct. So
That's where you have all the trailers.
both sites have trailers,
Oh,
but
they do?
there are some modulars on, visible from Maplewood Avenue at this
Mm-hmm.
school.
Right.
In this project, at the end of this project, those trailers go away.
Will they go away at Ithan? Or are there still trailers there?
There are. The lodge, we call it up top, they will not go away just yet. But at Wayne, part of this project is to remove the modulars adjacent to Maplewood.
I've been inside them. I mean, you wouldn't know they're trailers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're prefab buildings or whatever you want to call them.
So this project is a slightly larger addition at Wayne Elementary School. This is the bus loop here. So the addition actually sits entirely behind the building and wouldn't be visible from the bus loop or from Maplewood Avenue for that matter. It's entirely in that back quadrant. Again, this is a building from the mid-'70s. Red brick, wide expanses of glass in the classrooms. And our intent here as well is to essentially blend in. We've developed a Wayne blend of brick to match the brick, match the glazing color, openings, spandrel panels, even matching the roof flashing coping detail that exists there. So this is only a one-story addition. The existing classroom wing is 2 stories. But it's sort of planned with the intent that should enrollment go up, as you
Yeah.
mentioned, they could add a level
Oh, good.
and essentially be left with the same rhythm and materials and everything, so.
Again, is this caused by the kindergarten, all-day kindergarten and stuff? And
This is actually caused by a multitude of things, not the least of which is removal of those modulars that we talked
Okay.
about. We want to bring all the children back inside the building proper.
Good. Great. And I guess there's no additional lighting on this plan or anything like that, or small amount? You're not-
Correct. We have a light over a new exterior door.
Right.
An egress
Minimal.
door, but no site lighting or
Okay.
anything like that. no.
I don't see a consequence to.
No, it's really,
There's all new geothermal mechanical systems there, right? At the
Yes, we have
school?
geothermal at 4 out of the 5 schools now. Yes.
wow,
Good.
that's great.
It's a good thing.
Okay. All right, questions, comments? Looks good. You guys all right? Brian?
Yeah, I think it looks great.
Okay, Tony?
Yeah,
Looks good. Want to take that one, Tony?
sure.
You guys all right here? Any other questions for us? You're all right?
Thank you.
All right, Tony's going to make a,
Another DRB 2015-09, Wayne Elementary School, 651 West Wayne Avenue, approved as submitted.
okay, here a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Old business. Is there any old business? Yeah. Ray? Yes.
The flashing or neon flashing light up at 353 West Lancaster, you can tell Cindy that that is no longer lit.
I noticed. Yes. Okay. You know what? I have one comment. I don't know if this is a proper place to bring it up, but it has to do with the fee structure. And I kind of heard it before, the applicant that came in with the 3 awnings, having to pay $100 per awning. I don't know. It just seems to me a little excessive for a new business coming in. I'd almost rather see like flat fee at $100, whether you have 1 awning or 5 awnings. That's just looking out for the merchants of Wayne. That's why I'm kind of saying that, you know. I mean, these guys came in and I think they paid a $100 fee to see us tonight, and the cheese shop had to pay $300 to come in to see us tonight. Just seems a little unfair. So that's just,
Probably just got to sell more cheese.
well, that's just, and I know I heard it, the prior applicant that came in at that location too. It just seems a little excessive. So, for what it's worth. Okay? That's my comment for tonight, so. All right, any other old business comments from the board? Okay, motion for dismissal.
Move that we adjourn.
Thank you, I'll second that. See you next month.
Thank you.